Hello students, welcome to this discussion on communication electronics. Today we will be having a session on amplitude modulated signals demodulation. So we will be discussing a particular circuit called a diode detector. Then we will see some radio receivers. The first one will be a straight radio receiver, followed by a discussion on super heterodyne receiver, which is a little bit complicated one. So let's go to the discussion. Demodulation is the process of taking back the information from the modulated signal. For a communication system, you have a transmitter, then followed by a channel and a receiver. So the channel can be free space or any guided systems like waveguides or coaxial cables or telephone lines, etc. Or you can have a free space. So this demodulation happens at the receiver end. So in the receiver system, what we need is that the signal that is coming from through the channel that is to be taken, and the information content that has been modulated onto the carrier has to be taken back. So that process is called a demodulation, and for that process what we require is a multiplier. So I am showing a multiplier here. It has two inputs. One input is our amplitude modulated signal that is coming from the free space or any other media. So that signal gets into the first input. The second input is fed with another signal which is locally generated, a locally generated signal which has the same frequency as that of the carrier frequency that was used for modulation. So those are the two inputs to the multiplier, and this module effectively multiplies both the inputs to get the message signal out of it. So this is a simple representation of multiplier. Actual cases it will be having the 2 or 3 blocks inside it. Okay. So let us see what the process of demodulation is. Demodulation is actually another kind of a frequency translation, where you are multiplying the locally generated carrier frequency with the amplitude modulated signal. So that is what is given here. The terms in the bracket, the bracketed factor is our amplitude modulated signal. This one is our locally generated signal. And when you multiply, you will be having 3 terms. The first term with the carrier signal inside it, the second term with the upper sideband, and the third term with the lower sideband. So I have opened the brackets, and you can see the carrier term, the sum term, and the difference term. Okay. So I will be addressing each of these 3 terms individually. Yeah, it's written here. The first term is given by SE0 square, and I have changed this into this by using the identity, and when I expand this, I get SE0 square by 2 plus SE0 square by 2 times cos 2 omega ct. Why 2 omega ct? That is because of this term. Okay, so you can see that even this squaring itself is kind of a multiplication, and it translates the signal to a frequency of 2 omega c, and the other one back to the baseband, or a DC signal is obtained. So this DC signal doesn't contain any information that we coded into the amplitude modulated signal. So we will be removing these 2 terms, because these 2 terms contain nothing. And when we consider the multiplication of the second term, that is this one, and when we expand this and do the frequency translation, you get a sum term and a difference term. The sum term happens to be at a frequency 2 omega c plus omega m. So that is a very high frequency, and the difference term happens to be our message signal. So this is our message signal. This is something that we require. So that is given in green color. And in the case of third term also, you have a sum term and a difference term. The sum term is obtained at a frequency 2 omega c plus 2 omega c minus omega m, and the difference term is back to the baseband. So this is something that we require. So these 2 terms will be adding together when you add first term, second term, and third term in this case. So this is first term, this is second term, and the third term. So our demodulated wave output will be having these 3 terms added together. So the thing is, these yellow colored regions should these yellow colored terms should be removed. And what we do for that is we will be using a filter which gives out only the green color terms and will be rejecting all the yellow color terms. Okay, so what we obtain at the output will be this one. After filtering and all, you will be getting an output like this. Okay, so it contains m SE0 square by 2 cos omega mt. So cos omega mt, when you compare the original message signal, you can see cos omega mt is exactly same as cos omega mt the original. So we have effectively recovered the frequency information. Now about the amplitude information. Amplitude information, you can see it is inside the modulation index because SE0 square by 2 is a constant. So we are least bothered about SE0 square by 2. And in the case of m is a function of SM0. How come? Because m is defined as SM0 divided by SE0, which means SM0 is there. So m is a function of SM0. That means we have effectively recovered the amplitude of the original message signal also using modulation index. Okay. So modulation index represents our amplitude information. This omega m represents our frequency information. So both amplitude and frequency of the original message signal has been recovered back. Okay, so this is what is happening. And when you draw the spectral graph, this is like this: the frequency on x-axis, the amplitude of the components on y-axis. And the red colored spectral lines represent our incoming signal that is being received from free space. The incoming signal is represented by omega c minus omega m, omega c and omega c plus omega m. So these three components represent our incoming signal. Additionally, we will be generating a locally generated signal will be there, and that is also having a frequency of omega c. Okay. So when we multiply these three signals with the locally generated signal, what we obtain is a frequency translated signal which is centered around 2 omega c. So this frequency translated signal is centered around 2 omega c and a baseband signal at omega m, but there is also another DC signal at zero frequency, and that DC signal is neglected or it will be filtered out using a capacitor. This one is the DC signal, this one is the 2 omega CT, 2 omega CT is this one, and the difference one is this one, 2 omega C minus omega m, and the sum term for the highest thing will be 2 omega C plus omega m. So these higher frequencies are in yellow color. So these yellow colored spectral lines are something we need to filter out, and we only require this green color thing. This is our original message signal. Alright, we can now see a circuit called a diode detector. This is a circuit used for demodulating using a crude methodology, and what we do here is that we have a diode here, and diode will be allowing the signal to pass through during the forward biased conditions, which means whenever this is at a positive potential, it will be conducting forward. So all the positive cycles will be allowed to go to the next stage. So here you can see it is a rectified signal. It is a rectified high frequency signal coming to the capacitor. So there is a capacitor and a resistor arrangement. This resistor is for discharging the capacitor. Okay, so the charge doesn't stay as it is. So there is a discharge path for the capacitor. And what here happens is that whenever the positive spike comes in, then it will be charged, the capacitor will be charged to the voltage of the first peak. Then as soon as it starts discharging through the resistance, the next peak comes in. So the capacitor gets charged to the next peak and it starts discharging. Then the third peak will come in, fourth peak, fifth peak, and it will be, the capacitor's voltage will be increasing like this. And when it decreases, it will be following like this. And as a result, it will be following the envelope of the rectified signal. The envelope of the rectified signal. So when you join the peak amplitudes of the rectified signal, you get the envelope like this. So this is the envelope, and the envelope represents our demodulated message signal. Okay, so this is a diode detector. And you can use this diode detector in a kind of a radio receiver called straight radio receiver. And this is the block diagram representation of a straight radio receiver. What we essentially do is we receive the radiated modulated signal through a receiving antenna. The currents that are induced on the receiving antenna is of microampere range. So it is not possible to directly detect from it. So we'll be using an RF amplifier. So this is an RF amplifier which is tuned to amplify signal that is coming through the receiving antenna, and this signal will be used to give the diode detector its input. So this is the diode detector's input, and this detector will be performing the same action as it is in this case. So you get a demodulated signal out of the detector. Then that signal is amplified. That signal, suppose it is an audio signal, then it should be amplified using an audio frequency amplifier, and that audio frequency amplifier amplifies, and that is given to the loudspeaker. So you get the message signal out of it. Straight radio receivers are relatively simpler circuits which can be used to demodulate an audio frequency signals. But if we need to have better control over tuning, it is not possible for straight radio receivers, because the tuning portion is completely done at RF amplifier as well as in the detector stage. So these two stages are to be controlled simultaneously for the purpose of tuning from one station to another station. So that can cause a lot of problem, because the entire device, most of its components are being tuned together. So that is a little bit difficult task in electronics because of the high frequencies that are involved. So we will be using another receiver called a super heterodyne receiver, in which the tuning portion, that is changing the station from station 1 to station 2, that is done at the initial stages. So what we do here is that initially we convert whatever is in the RF to an intermediate frequency where there is no requirement for a tuning. So the rest of the circuit works in the intermediate frequency. So it will be like this. Suppose I am tuning in station 1, everything that is transmitted from the station 1 will be translated to another frequency called intermediate frequency. And if I want to change the station to station 2, then I will be changing the first 3 modules, and I will be tuning to the station 2, and I will translate all the information station 2 to the intermediate frequency. So whatever station I am going to select, those informations are translated to an intermediate frequency. So in the case of a super heterodyne receiver, the initial stages will be handling the radio frequencies. The rest of the stages will be handled in the intermediate frequency. So it's like converting any kind of a language into a common language. So it is the common language that we are using here is an intermediate frequency where there is no requirement for tuning. Okay. So let us see what is happening in the spectrum of a super heterodyne receiver as it traverses through the different blocks in it. So initially, when the antenna picks up the signal, we get 3 components. The first component is FC, second component is the upper sideband, third component is the lower sideband. So in the stage 1, which is represented by this block, what happens is there is an oscillator, and this oscillator will be generating a frequency which is 455 kilohertz greater than the carrier frequency that is coming. Suppose the carrier frequency here is FC for FC1 for station 1, then if I want to tune to FC1, then I will be generating a signal from the oscillator which is 455 kilohertz greater than FC1, which will be FC1 plus 455. So a signal, a frequency of 455 plus FC1 will be generated from here. If suppose I want to tune to station 2, which has a center frequency FC2, then I will be tuning the oscillator's output to FC2 plus 455 kilohertz. So this 455 is called intermediate frequency. So here you can see that in the case of stage 1 output, this is the stage 1 output. So in the case of stage 1 output, the spectral components that are being considered, that are to be considered are these two. Fc plus 455 kilohertz, that is generated from the local oscillator, and the incoming AM signal. This is the incoming AM signal. Okay. So this one I should write it as a sum and difference, that is why plus or minus, sum and difference frequencies. I am generating sum and difference frequencies. Let me generate the sum terms. Sum terms are generated with this factor added with Fc. So it is 2Fc plus 455. That will be our one output. And for the sum term, the second sum term will be Fc plus 455 plus Fc plus Fm. That means 2Fc plus 455 kilohertz plus Fm. And the next one will be Fc plus 455 kilohertz plus Fc minus Fm. That will be 2Fc plus 455 K minus Fm. So these three are the sum terms, and we don't require the sum terms here. So we will be filtering out the entire sum terms, and we will be keeping only the different terms. What are the different terms? Different terms are obtained by subtracting these things from Fc plus 455K. So when you subtract Fc from Fc plus 455K, you get 455K. Similarly, when you subtract Fc plus Fm from 455K, then you get 455K minus Fm. And when you subtract Fc minus Fm from Fc plus 455K, then Fc's get cancelled and you just get 455K plus Fm. So these three are the difference terms. We will be using only these three terms for further processing, that is in the case of stage 2. So these three terms are called intermediate frequency components. So these are intermediate frequency components. And in the stage 2, the stage 2 is represented by IF amplifier, detector and automatic gain control stage. So after the detector stage, it will be like this. The stage 2 output will be like this: 455K plus 455K, 455K plus Fm. These terms will be added. So I can write this as 455K plus or minus. Okay. So the stage 2 output will be containing sum terms as well as different terms, similar to the stage 1. So in the case of stage 2, we will be having the sum terms, we will be using 455 kilohertz as the intermediate frequency, as the carrier frequency, and we will be modulating it. We will be demodulating using the 455 kilohertz frequency. So you will be obtaining stage 2 components like this. The sum term is 910K, then 910K plus Fm, and 910K minus Fm for this one. So these are the sum terms. We will not be using these sum terms. We will be taking the difference terms. So what are the difference terms? Difference terms are obtained by subtracting these terms from 455K. So when you subtract the first term, it is 0K. So this is 0K. When you subtract the second term, it is minus Fm. And when you subtract the third term from 455K, you get a plus Fm. And you know that cos of minus theta is cos theta. That is why cos of minus Fm will be equal to cos Fm. So all these I have written only the spectral values only, not the entire wave. So I am just processing the spectrum. So what you get is just 0K and Fm. 0K represents a DC component. We will be removing the DC component using a capacitor. Then our baseband signal in Fm. Okay. So our output will be generated like this. There will be the amplitude component in modulation index and the frequency component as omega m plus a DC component. So this DC component is represented like this. So this is the DC component, and the component corresponding to this Fm is represented by ms cos omega mt, where s is a constant. Okay. So m represents our amplitude of the baseband signal, and omega m represents the frequency of our baseband signal or our message signal. Okay. So the final output after removing this S by filtering using a capacitor will be ms cos omega mt, which is our baseband signal or our message signal that was coded by the transmitter or that was modulated by the transmitter. So, this is our message. So, this is how we will be using a super heterodyne receiver to obtain the demodulated signal. So, we will stop at this, and the portions regarding amplitude modulation is now over, and we will see with other aspects of communication electronics in the next session. Thank you all.